What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I am going to be doing my 2021 NASCAR driver lineup predictions here today. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. I did a video like this a month ago, but that video is kind of outdated, and I'm doing my true 2021 NASCAR predictions. This will include full-time drivers and part-time drivers here in NASCAR. So anyway, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. To start off, we're going to talk about the number 00 car. The driver of the 00 car is going to be Quin Houff. Quin Houff, before the beginning of the 2020 season, signed a 2-year contract with Starcom Racing. And while his time at Starcom Racing has not been fantastic, I would have to say Quin Houff has been an okay rookie this year. And he can prove himself, get better with the Starcom cars. He has another year to do it, learn to grow, and I think he has a lot of potential to do well in the NASCAR Cup Series, as he will return to the 00 next year. He will be the driver of the 00. Up next in the number 1 car, we are going to see Kurt Busch once again returning to the 1 car. Kurt Busch, his overall in 2020 has been a little bit down this year, but he still has been really consistent. He's only got 2 finishes really this year outside the top 25, if I'm not mistaken. Kurt Busch has been one of the most consistent drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series this year, and he will return to the number 1 next year as he tries in his possible final full-time Cup year. There is a chance he could return in 2022 with the next-gen car. That is a big possibility, but this also could be his final year in 2021. Up next in the number 2 car next year will be Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski signed a 1-year contract extension about a month ago with Team Penske, and Brad Keselowski overall in 2020 has been really good. He has scored 4 victories this year, 3 of those with the low downforce package. I think Brad Keselowski next year will return to the number 2 car, and he will perform really excellent, as he will once again try to get his contract extended as well for at least a few more years after the 2021 season, and Brad Keselowski will try to go out and win a championship in 2021 as he returns to the number 2 car. Up next, the number 3 car, this is no surprise as well. Austin Dillon will be driving the 3 car next season. Austin Dillon has had a really good year compared to 2019, where he didn't even make the playoffs and even failed to finish inside the top 20 in the standings. Austin Dillon, especially in the round of 16, was really above his game. He got a win earlier this year at Texas Motor Speedway, and Austin Dillon will be returning to the number 3 car full-time once again. He probably will never end up leaving Bridgestone Racing, of course, unless that team ends up shutting down. But I think he really can improve next year and go out and be a championship contender in the future. Austin Dillon returns to number 3 car. Up next in the number 4 car, this should also be no surprise, Kevin Harvick will be returning to the 4 car. He signed a contract extension through 2023. At the beginning of this year, Kevin Harvick has had a career year in 2020. He got 9 victories here, and there is a possibility he can end up winning as many races as Jeff Gordon did in 1998. Kevin Harvick is one of the best drivers of all time, and he will be returning to the 4 car next season. Up next in the number 6 car, there were questions ringing about if Ryan Newman will be returning to the 6 car, but I still believe that Ryan Newman will be returning to the 6 car next year. But I think there is a very big possibility that Ryan Newman will be running his final full-time year, as Ryan Newman is going to be turning 44 next year in the NASCAR Cup Series. I think it'll be his final year in the number 6 car, but I think Ryan Newman will be returning to the 6 car full-time in 2021. Up next, we get to the first part-time car, the number 7 car, the Tommy Baldwin Racing car. Josh Slickey, in my opinion, will be driving the 7 car. He's had a lot of the ride this year, and I think he's done all right in the car. I think Josh Slickey does have a lot of talent. He will be returning to the 7 car. Of course, that team will probably be running 35th to 40th place, kind of an edge in our area. There's a good chance they won't finish a lot of the races next year because they have fallen out of a lot of the races that they have ran. But I think Josh Slickey will be returning to the 7 car in a part-time stance. I think they'll run like 15 to 20 races next year. They won't run full-time, but I expect them to run a lot of the Crown Jewel events and a lot of the bigger races with a lot of bigger purses. Up next, returning to number 8 car will be Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick signed a contract extension with Bridgestone Racing earlier this year. It had been rumored that he might be going to Hendrick earlier at the beginning of the year, but those have kind of been dashed, and he will be returning to the 8 car full-time in 2021. Up next, driving the number 9 car in 2021, we will see Chase Elliott once again returning to the number 9 car as he tries to continue the legacy at Hendrick Motorsports that he already has built. With 8 career victories up to this point, Chase Elliott will once again return 9 car and trying to go out and win his first championship. If he doesn't get a championship this year in 2020, Chase Elliott will return to the number 9 car for the 2021 season and continue his big success at Hendrick Motorsports. Up next, returning to the number 10 car next year is going to be Aric Almirola. A couple weeks ago, it was announced that Aric Almirola has signed a 1-year contract extension with Stewart-Haas Racing to drive for the team full-time. Aric Almirola in 2020 has honestly been an excellent driver, very consistent compared to 2019. He kind of went back to his 2018 where he was really consistent. Aric Almirola, I think, is still win a race here in the 2020 season, but Aric Almirola will be returning at least for the 2021 season, but he will be a free agent after the 2021 season, of course, if he does not resign before then. Up next, driving the number 11 car next year, we will see Denny Hamlin driving the number 11 car. Denny Hamlin has also, like Kevin Harvick, had a career season up to this point, and Denny Hamlin will continue his great legacy as he also will be owning a team with Michael Jordan in the 2021 season, as he will be trying to he will be competing against him and will be trying to win a championship, not just as a driver, but as a champion in 2 different teams. We saw that with Dale Earnhardt. I think Denny Hamlin will be very strong in the 2021 season as he will be driving the 11 car. Up next, driving the number 12 car will be Ryan Blaney. This should also be no shock as well. Ryan Blaney signed a 3-year contract extension earlier this year. It had been rumored he might have been out at the beginning of the year, but Ryan Blaney has honestly been a really good driver this year. Yes, he kind of had a downgrade in the round of 16, kind of fell off as the season continued on, and it was not good for him. But I think Ryan Blaney in general is a fantastic driver, has a lot of potential, and he will be coming back next year in 2021 as he tries to go out there and become a championship contender once again like he was at the beginning of this year. Up next, we have a driver change that will be taking place for the number 14 car. Honestly, there have been rumors that Clint Bowyer could end up returning into SHR. Will keep their full lineup with Clint Bowyer, Aric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, and Cole Custer. I actually disagree with this. I actually think that Chase Briscoe is going to be taking over the number 14 car full-time in the 2021 season. Chase Briscoe has been tearing it up in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He has said that his goal is to try to win 8 races so he can get promoted up to the NASCAR Cup Series. He only needs 1 more to do that, and I think that SHR will be missing out on a major opportunity to promote Chase Briscoe. On top of that, Kyle Larson is being rumored to go to another ride, and that was the driver I originally thought was going to be taking over the 14 car next year. That has changed. Chase Briscoe will be driving the number 14 car full-time in the 2021 season. Up next, driving the number 15 car full-time will be Brennan Poole. Now, Brennan Poole, it's been weird because Brennan Poole did not race at Bristol and J.J. Yeley drove the car, but he is back this weekend here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and I think Brennan Poole will come back full-time. I think sponsorship will come back to him. Brennan Poole is a very solid driver, a driver capable of going out there and not winning races because the Rick Ware racing cars and the premium cars are generally not that great, but Brennan Poole is a very solid driver, and he will come back in the 15 car, and I think will be a very strong driver and a superb driver in that number 15 car as he comes back to the 15. Up next, driving the 17 full-time, this also should not be a shock. It will be Chris Buescher returning to the number 17 car. He came over the 17 car at the beginning of this year after kind of a pretty decent run at the JHD Doherty team. And honestly, 2020 was kind of a down year, but again, he really didn't have a lot of time to learn with the Roush boys because, you know, of the COVID-19 pandemic, he really couldn't learn because for the beginning of the year before the pandemic happened, he was really up front in the beginning of the standings, up in the points. But he really has been up and down this year. He's 22nd or 23rd in the point standings, if I'm not mistaken. But I think there's a good chance that he can also improve. On top of that, I think the Roush cars have generally been a little bit down from where they were last year. So I think Chris Buescher, as he returns next year in 2021 to the number 17 car, I think Chris Buescher can really learn and grow as a driver. Up next, driving the number 18 car, this also should not be a surprise. Kyle Busch will be returning once again to try to improve on a not-so-great 2020 season. Kyle Busch is currently winless here in 2020. If he does not win a race here in the 2020 season, it'll be the first full-time year that Kyle Busch has not had a win in a season. And Kyle Busch has really struggled here in the 2020 season. But I think next year he will drastically improve. I think the COVID-19 pandemic has really affected Kyle Busch And I think that Kyle Busch will come back a lot better and a lot stronger as a driver, as he will return the 18 car next year, as he signed a 3-year contract extension as well in the 2019 season. I think he will come back very strong. Up next, driving the number 19 car is going to be Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. has definitely, as the year has gone on in that 19 car, he's drastically improved. I think him and James Small are really starting to click. They have been clicking most of this season. I know Bristol didn't go very well, and their Darlington finish wasn't great, but before they had a huge string of top 3 and top 4 finishes. He was running really consistent up front, and he was contending for wins on a week-to-week basis, but he will be returning to the 19 car full-time, and I think he will do really well next year, and I think that he will, once again, continue to click as a driver here in the 2021 season. Up next, driving the 20 car is going to be Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is coming over from the Levine family racing team as they are shutting down at the end of this year. He will be driving the 20 flagship car full-time for Joe Gibbs Racing. I think Christopher Bell is generally a really awesome driver. He's a generational star, in my opinion. A generational star in the making. I know that this year's kind of gone downhill. Seems like every time he has a really good run, he kind of ends up having not so great finish. But I think Christopher Bell will come back to this 20 car, and he will contend for playoff spot. I still think he will get his first career win. I think he'll actually get a few wins with this 20 team in the 2021 season. Up next in the number 21 car, this gets really interesting. Now, recently, it has been rumored that Matt DiBenedetto has not officially signed for the 2021 season. I still think he will end up in the 2021 car. I think he will be the driver of the 21 car. But if Matt DiBenedetto is not to return to the 21 car full-time, Austin Cindric will take that car, in my honest opinion. That is a Team Penske affiliated car, and if Matt DiBenedetto does not return, I don't know where he ends up going next year, but I still feel very confident that Matt DiBenedetto will be driving the number 21 car full-time for the 2021 season. Next, driving the number 22 car is going to be, no shocker, Joey Logano. Joey Logano has honestly had a pretty consistent year in the 2020 season. Yes, of course, he kind of started after the pandemic, kind of a down year, but at the beginning of the year, he got 2 early victories at the tracks of Phoenix and Las Vegas. Joey Logano is still one of the top drivers. He's only 30 years old, if I'm not mistaken, so he has a lot of time to learn and still a lot of time to grow. He's a very aggressive driver and a very awesome driver on the racetrack. He will be turning to the 22 car full-time next year as he continues to try to go out and win that second championship. Up next, driving the number 23 car, as this is going to be the team car for the Denny Hamlin Racing Organization. Of course, this is going to be Bubba Wallace. Currently at this moment, Bubba Wallace is going to be driving for Denny Hamlin Racing, which is going to be a team of Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, as Bubba Wallace will be the driver of this organization. Now, my expectations for this 23 organization, I think that they're not going to immediately win as an organization, but I think that they're going to eventually get a win as the year goes on. I think they will also make the playoffs in their first year. I think they're going to be a slow team, kind of similar to what Levine was at the beginning of this year, because they got that kind of that Joe Gibbs alliance, basically, and they kind of struggle. I'm kind of expecting that for the beginning with this team, but I think as the year goes on, this 23 team will gel, and they will begin to grow as a organization. Up next, driving the number 24 car full-time is William Byron. William Byron, about a week or two ago, on the same day that Eric Almirola signed a contract extension, he signed a 2-year contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports. William Byron is a very young driver. Yes, of course, he hasn't done as much in the Cup Series as we wanted him to at this point, but I still think William Byron is a driver who can prove a lot to us, and I think William Byron will be a driver that will still do a lot in the NASCAR Cup Series as he returns to the number 24 car full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series. Up next, driving the number 27 car for Rick Ware Racing is going to be J.J. Yeley. We all know that J.J. Yeley is pretty much a bust in the NASCAR Cup Series. He really didn't do much in NASCAR, but J.J. Yeley has done all right driving for the Rick Ware Racing team. His average finish has actually been all right. I think his average finish is like in the top 30, if I'm not mistaken, which really isn't that bad. I think J.J. Yeley will come back to this 27 car, and I think he will perform pretty well in 2021. Up next, driving the number 31 car, Richard Childress Racing is going to bring back the number 31 car full-time next year, in my honest opinion, and I believe that they're going to bring Ty Dillon over to the 31 car full-time and bring him in-house at Richard Childress Racing. Remember, Germain Racing is going to be shutting down at the end of the 2020 season as they sold their charter to Denny Hamlin's organization that he and Michael Jordan have partnered up. Ty Dillon will be brought in-house from the Germain Racing organization. He will be driving the 31 car full-time. What are my expectations for him if he goes this 31 car? I think he actually will not do too bad. I don't think he's going to do great, but I think he's going to run about 20th to 25th place in general. I think Ty is not as good as his brother, let's be honest here. But I think Ty Dillon has a little bit of talent there. I'm not as big of a fan of Ty Dillon, but it really, really sucks when you do have to become a free agent. But I think Ty Dillon will be driving the 31 car full-time for Richard Childress Racing. Up next, going to be driving the number 32 car. Now, there were rumors that Chase Briscoe could be driving the number 32 car, but I don't think that it actually is going to be the case. I actually think that Clint Bowyer, instead of going up to the Fox booth, I actually 100% believe that Clint Bowyer is going to be driving the number 32 car for Go Fast Racing. Now, here's something really interesting about Go Fast Racing. They are an SHR aligned team, and if SHR wanted to, they could move Clint Bowyer over to an organization like that. But I think there's a really good chance that Clint Bowyer does not return to NASCAR or go up to the booth, of course. But I think Clint Bowyer will be driving the 32 car full-time for Go Fast Racing. Next, driving the number 34 car full-time is going to be Michael McDowell. Now, there were rumors going around that Michael McDowell could end up leaving Front Row Motorsports earlier this year, but Michael McDowell's honestly probably had the best season of his NASCAR career up to this point, driving for Front Row Motorsports. His average finish is like a 19.6, and he's in the top 25 in points. He's had probably the best season of his career. He will return. I think he has a really good shot of really improving as a NASCAR Cup Series driver next year. He's kind of a late bloomer in NASCAR. He kind of started and wasn't a really great driver at the beginning, but over the last couple of years, he's gotten a lot better as a driver, and I think there is a good chance. And I think also that Front Row Motorsports equipment has really started to take off here over the last couple of years. He will return to the number 34 car full-time here in the 2021 season. Up next, driving the number 37 car full-time is going to be Erik Jones. You heard that right. It has been rumored over the last couple weeks that Erik Jones could be driving for teams like the 42 car or the 48 car. Now, with Ross Chastain taking over the 42 car full-time next year, there's really only one option I see Erik Jones going to, and I think that ride is going to be the 37 car. That is a Hendrick affiliate. That is one key thing right there. And also, if you saw his picture today on Twitter, it had flames, and the 37 car kind of has flames, if you will, on their car in a lot of the races. So, I think Erik Jones will end up driving the 37 car full-time. He also could learn and branch out as a driver and kind of become the Chris Buescher of this ride. Remember how good Chris Buescher was in his 37 ride, which really wasn't a great ride and great organization? I think Erik Jones can really learn, and I think that this team could be an not an outside championship caliber team, but an outside playoff contender, and I think that they could really run for a playoff spot here in the 2021 season. Up next, driving the 38 car is going to be John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek has kind of had an up-and-down rookie year. Yes, when he really started at the end of this year, he really showed flashes of brilliance, but kind of in the second half of the year, he has kind of struggled as a NASCAR Cup Series driver. But he will come back next year to his 38 car, and he will improve, and he will also help Front Row Motorsports improve. I think he's one of the big reasons why Front Row Motorsports, a driver like Michael McDowell, has really improved this year. I think John Hunter Nemechek will really help this organization in the number 38 car full-time, as he will continue to help this organization. Up next, we're going to be talking about the number 40 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. This is where things get a little bit interesting here, because there's a certain driver that is retiring at the end of this year. I think you know who he is. I think Jimmie Johnson is going to run a few races in the number 40 car for Chip Ganassi Racing at the Daytona 500, the Southern 500, and a few races that he really did not run. Jimmie Johnson, like I said, is driving full-time on the IndyCar Series for the road courses and the street courses next year. So I think that Jimmie Johnson will drive part-time for Chip Ganassi's number 40 car next year, and he will have, honestly, some pretty strong runs in that number 40 car. He will be driving the number 40 car on a part-time status in 2021. Up next, driving the number 41 car, full-time, no surprise here, Cole Custer is driving the number 41. Cole Custer, in my honest opinion, is a very talented young rookie. He actually won the Rookie of the Year this year. I think he hasn't been the best rookie. I think Tyler Reddick has been the best rookie overall, but I think Cole Custer has a lot of potential, and I think he is a very talented driver. And Cole Custer will be returning to the number 41 car full-time here in the 2021 season. Up next, driving the number 42 car, we are going to see Ross Chastain get his first full-time opportunity at Chip Ganassi Racing next year. He originally in 2019 was supposed to run full-time in the Xfinity Series and eventually move up the Cup, but after the DC Solar situation, that kind of got ruined. But he is getting that second opportunity and that second chance with Chip Ganassi Racing. I am really excited for Ross Chastain driving a 42 car full-time next year. He will honestly do a lot of great things with this team, and I think he could be as competitive as Kyle Larson was. Granted, Kyle Larson is a generational star in any series he races. He's pretty much won in every series of car that he has driven, but I think Ross Chastain will do very well here in his 42 car, and I think he will be a playoff contender without no doubt. Up next, driving the number 43 car. Now, Bubba Wallace is, like I said, driving the number 23 car full-time next year. So, who's going to take over the 43 car full-time next year? That is going to be Daniel Suarez. Andrew Murstein said recently that he's looking for a driver that is more diverse and brings in a lot of funding. Daniel Suarez is a more diverse driver like Kyle Larson and Hailie Deegan. Not only that, he does have some sponsors that can back him up. CommScope and Coca-Cola. I know Symbiota suggested he should go basically back to Xfinity Series for like Joe Gibbs Racing, but I think he will go full-time once again with a kind of a better team than Gaunt Brothers Racing. They're not a fantastic team, if we're going to be honest, but he will have that RCR Alliance. I think he will perform decent. I think he actually will prove pretty well with this team, and I think he will be driving the 43 car full-time next year. Up next, driving the number 47 car full-time is going to be Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has kind of had an up-and-down year this year. He was booted at the end of the 2019 season from Roush Fenway Racing and traded over for him and Chris Buescher, basically swapped, and he's honestly got an up-and-down year here with this team. He's definitely had flashes of brilliance. Look back at the Charlotte Double, the second Charlotte race where he finished top 5. You look back at some other races where he ran really well. I think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. could definitely improve on his really good stats here in the 2020 season as he goes for the 47 car full-time next year. Up next, driving the illustrious 48 car. So there have been a few rumored drivers that could be driving his 48 car. We had Noah Gragson, but he's returning to Junior Motorsports next year. We also have Eric Jones. We have Chase Briscoe. But I think the one driver that is going to be driving the 48 car full-time next year, you ready to hear this? It is going to be Kyle Larson. You heard that right. Currently at the moment, Rick Hendrick, as we've been hearing, is that he is trying to get Kyle Larson, behind the scenes, they're trying to get Kyle Larson to drive this 48 car full-time. I know Eric Jones has been rumored, and that could be the backup driver to take over the 48. But if you want the honest truth and my honest opinion, I think I think Kyle Larson is going to drive the 48 car full-time, and he's going to make that 48 car really something special. Kyle Larson, we all thought originally was going to be driving a 48 car to begin with, but I think Kyle Larson will be back full-time in the Cup Series. He will get reinstated finally, and he will be driving the 48 car full-time here next season. Up next, driving the number 51 car for Rick Rudd Racing is going to be Garrett Smithley. Garrett Smithley, I think, is one of the top dogs. When he has driven for Rick Rudd Racing, I think he's a very talented and a young, capable driver. He will be returning to the 51 car next year. He's driven for Rick Rudd Racing at times. Also has driven for the 78 team and the 77 team, which are kind of affiliated with the Rick Rudd Racing program in a sense. But I think that Garrett Smithley will be here full-time next year in the 51 car. Up next, driving the number 66 car is Timmy Hill. Timmy Hill will be driving a 66 car full-time. He is the top dog at the Carl Long Racing Motorsports team. I think they actually will go full-time next year. They will try to acquire a Cup Series charter next year. And Timmy Hill will be driving the number 66 car full-time for the 2021 season. Next, driving the number 74 car full-time for Spire Motorsports is going to be Justin Haley. Spire Motorsports over the last couple months has said they have wanted 2 drivers to drive for the team, that being Justin Haley and Ross Chastain. Now, there will be 2 full-time cars next year. The other driver we'll talk about here very, very soon. But Justin Haley, I think, is going to Spire Motorsports. It's a partnership from College Racing and Chip Ganassi Racing. I think all 3 of these companies are going to work together. And I think Justin Haley will do very well as this team tries to make their way up to the NASCAR Cup Series full-time, and they will go full-time next year in the 74 car. Up next, driving number 77 car. This is where things get interesting. A certain driver left a organization earlier this year. It was not a very good organization. It was a go fast organization. I think you know who it is now. Corey LaJoie is going to be driving the 77 car, in my opinion, full-time next year. That is my prediction. I think he will be driving the 77 car full-time. He will be the second full-time Spire Motorsports car as that team tries to become competitive as they get ready for the next-gen car. I think over time that team will get really good. As we get closer to the next-gen car, I'm really excited to see, and Corey LaJoie will be driving the 77 car full-time next year, in my opinion. Up next, driving the number 78 car on a part-time basis is going to be the owner of McCloud Motorsports itself, BJ McCloud. BJ McCloud, in my honest opinion, is one of the hardest working individuals. Not only is he driving for JD Motorsports in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but he has to own an Xfinity Series team and at times a part-time Cup team. And it will come back part-time in the Cup Series. He will drive the 78 car part-time next year as they continue to get ready. I think he's looking at the next-gen car as well to go full-time in 2022. He will be part-time in the NASCAR Cup Series. Up next, driving the number 88 car full-time is going to be Alex Bowman. Now, there have been rumors circulating that he could end up going to the number 48 car full-time because of sponsorship issues, and that Kyle Larson go to 88, but I think Alex Bowman remains at the 88 car. I think he actually is going to pick up some of that Chevy sponsorship. On top of that, I think Alex Bowman is done really, really well, and I think he will not have as much sponsorship issues as he will be possibly a free agent at the end of the 2021 season, if I'm not mistaken. So, Alex Bowman, I think he'll return to the 88 car full-time next season. And now the final ride is the number 96 car, the Gaunt Brothers Racing Organization. Now, the driver that was at the team, Daniel Suarez, I already said he's going to the 43 car. So, who is going to drive the number 96 car next year? And this is full-time, by the way. Well, I think it's actually going to be Brandon Jones. I'm not the biggest fan of Brandon Jones myself, but I think Brandon Jones will drive his 96 car full-time. It will get more affiliation with Joe Gibbs Racing and a bigger technical alliance. They have talked about that they are looking to upgrade their team and bring some people from the Toyota organization over to them. So I think Brandon Jones will go to this team. How do I think he'll do when he goes to 96? I don't think he is going to do a lot of things with this team, but Brandon Jones will be driving the number 96 car full-time next year. So, and also Trackhouse Motorsports, I think it's probably going to be Justin Marks driving on a part-time basis, basically. So, those are the 2021 NASCAR driver predictions. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notification on so you can be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Link description below for that, and comment below your thoughts on today's video. What do you think about my driver lineup predictions? Do you think I'm crazy for those predictions or not? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.